Thank you for joining me. We will be starting in approximately 1 minute and 20 seconds. Hi and welcome. Thank you for joining me on this Friday evening. There we go. Just turn off my audio. Thank you for joining me on this Friday evening. My name is Wayne from Ascend Custom Designs. I'm a small business owner and a part of the X-Tool Squad program. What is the X-Tool Squad, you might ask? Well, the X-Tool Squad is a global network of experienced makers, educators, and small business owners, such as myself. And when I say global, I really do mean that in every sense of the word. So we have squad hosts in many different countries. So not just the UK, where I'm from. We have them in Denmark, Norway, Sweden, all over the US, France, Germany, you name it. So we have X-Tool Squad members all over that are participating in this project that X-Tool is running. So the X-Tool Squad, they offer one-on-one demos of the X-Tool products that they own. And the demos are a mix of online and in person. So it really depends on the host what they're comfortable with. So some might do online only and not offer in person, whereas others will do both. And then some squad members will also participate in material testing and skill training. Material testing is effectively testing customer supplied material under a number of different parameters to get you perfect results. Whereas skill training is essentially a one-on-one masterclass with an X-Tool Squad member. It's very much tailored to what you want to get out of it. So if you need help knowing how to use the software, for example, that's what it'd be tailored around. So it's very much a one-on-one training session. If you want to find out more information about this project that X-Tool are currently running, please check out the link below. I'll also drop it in the links. So it's the demo hosts, so the demo room. So you can click on that link, take you to X-Tool's official website. You can find a host that's either close to you or going to be somewhere where you're located. So for example, someone was traveling to Birmingham, unrelated to seeing me, but they booked a demo with me because they were going to be in the city. So please check that out. I would highly recommend you visit a host where possible. Seeing is believing, and when you see these machines in action, you will have a much better understanding. It's great having the ability to do the demos online, but you really do get more out of it when you're present in the moment. With that being said, X-Tool is running a promotion in regards to this right now, where you can book a one-on-one demo, either online or in person. It's absolutely free, costs you nothing, just costs you your time. The host that you book with will get paid by X-Tool regardless if you purchase a machine or not. So you can have an honest review of the machine. I should note, just for transparency, that if you do buy a machine, so if you do go on to buy a machine within a set amount of time, the host that you went with will earn a small commission. So with that being said, we'll jump on to the next part, which is the workshop. So why we're here today. So I'm going to talk about how to simplify your workflow and maximize your profit with using these Xtor lasers, and I'll show you just how easy the software is to use, because the software is really what makes all of this come together. So Xtor have come out with a wide range of lasers, and Xtor is very much a pioneer in the laser world. They don't just copy what competitors doing. If they're going to do something, they're not there to make an imitation product. They're there to elevate it to the next level. So when you buy an Xtor product, you will be getting a premium product that has features that none of the other competitors have, or does something that none of the other competitors have. So I think one of the biggest advantages Xtor have is the software, complete control of the software. So what we'll cover is the actual tech specs of the machines. We'll then have a physical look around of the machines. We'll briefly cover some laser safety training, then we'll jump into Xtor Studio. So this is the software I was just saying that's really amazing, very intuitive and user-friendly. We'll cover some of the aspects of the software, such as custom things, how you can take orders online. I showed you this on Monday and Wednesday, how you can take an order online or how you can create an online store. The AI Make is a part of that, in the sense of it's ingrained into the software. You don't have to go to a different AI program. They have AI feature built in, and with this you can turn a normal picture into something that's readily available to engrave. So you can turn a normal picture into a line drawing or maybe an exquisite carving, and it's honestly really simple. We covered online orders and batch processing, but we can touch on it again if anyone missed out on that. And some of the materials we'll work on, keychains, golf markers, and more. So I'll probably just work on some wood and show you some of the advanced features of the M2. I'll cover a bit more on the custom things, how to create templates. So you can take orders online and have the customer rapidly make something from a template, such as a card maybe. And I'll take questions and answers as we go along. So if anyone has any questions, please do let me know. I'll drop my contact information into the form. So you'll see that on Facebook and YouTube. So you can reach out to me. If you're watching this after the fact, please do reach out to me. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. So we'll start with the Xtor M2. So this is a very new machine. It came out in May, and it has several different laser modules. So it has two variations of the diode, the 10 watt and the 20 watt diode modules. And it also has the ability to connect a 3 watt infrared module to it. So if you're thinking of marking metal, the infrared module will be your friend. If you're going to be engraving and cutting wood or organic material, the diode laser will be more adept at that. This machine is also capable of printing as a full ink cartridge in there. So with the inkjet module, you're able to put an ink cartridge in there. It's very small and it fits nicely into the inkjet module, and it's a full color, like I said. So it's a CMYK, that stands for cyan, magenta, yellow, and K is for black. This is a fully enclosed class 1 laser. And what that means in a nutshell is there's no laser light exposing out of the machine. So it's safe to be around in terms of your protection for your eyes. So if you have young ones or pets, this is the machine for you. If you open up the lid on the machine while the laser's in operation, it will stop. So it's very, very safe. It has some very advanced features that are typically found in the more premium models. So the dual camera, this is in the P2S and P3, I believe it's in the P2 as well. So this has a camera located on the lid, and that's the 5 megapixel panoramic camera, and then it has a 2 megapixel close-up camera to the right of the laser module or the inkjet module, where the modules get placed. It has some novel features such as auto material detection. So if you was to put some material in there, you're not sure what it is, realistically you should know your material. You can ask the software to identify it, and it will come up with some parameters of what it would recommend to engrave on that material or cut, or maybe engrave a bitmap image. In terms of speed, this is a gantry-based laser, and by that I mean it has an X, Y, and Z axis. It can move up just and down just a little bit in terms of the laser head from the material, but it moves left and right, up and down, and that way it has a max speed of 600 millimeters a second. So it's not as fast as a galvo-based laser, and that's because with a gantry-based laser that the laser head has to physically move. This machine comes pre-assembled and is ready to use once you've done a brief calibration. And then in terms of the max workspace, it's 42.6 centimeters by 32 centimeters. And I say max space with an asterisk because if you're using the diode lasers, you'll get that maximum space. If you use the infrared module, you'll lose some of that because the infrared module is slightly larger. And you'll lose a little bit more with the inkjet module because it is considerably bigger and it has a cap that the machine will automatically snap off and print and then snap back on. So it requires some clearance as it snaps that cap off, and that's to protect the ink from drying up. If you want to find out more information about the Xtor M2, I will drop a link in the comments. Please follow that link. That'll take you to the UK Xtor website for the M2. Now, if we jump on to the next laser, this is the Xtor F2. This is a dual laser. And by dual lasers, I mean it's capable of using two separate lasers in one device. So no need to switch between them manually. So you don't have to switch the laser heads. This is all done internally with the software. And it's a 5-watt infrared laser and a 15-watt diode laser. So this is the upgrade from the now retired F1. And because of that, it's able to engrave well over 300 different types of material. And I say well over 300 different types of material. In terms of speed, it's capable of going a maximum speed of 6,000 millimeters a second. So this is a galvo-based laser. The last one that we just looked at, the M2, is a gantry-based laser, and that's 600 millimeters a second. So this is 10 times faster. The reason for that is there's no moving parts. It has a couple of mirrors. The laser source located at the top, right behind where you'll see the lens on the internal of the machine. And it will use those mirrors to bounce the laser source around the bed. One of the drawbacks is with a galvo-based laser, you don't have a large work area, or you have a reduced work area. So the workspace in this is 11.5 by 11.5 centimeters. You can increase the width up to a maximum of 40 centimeters using the slide extension. In terms of additional features that this machine has, it has a 50 megapixel camera, and that allows a live workspace preview. So if you take a picture using that camera, it allows you to preview the material and has an alignment accuracy of up to 0.1 millimeters when it's properly in focus. So it's very, very accurate with the camera. It comes pre-assembled and is ready to use out the box. And again, once you do a brief calibration. So you have to calibrate these machines as things move around while in transit. And that will give you the best results. And the calibration really is very, very simple. If you want to find out more information about this machine, I will drop a link in the comments. Please follow the link. That will take you to the UK official website for the Xtor F2. Now, if we move on finally to the Xtor F2 Ultra UV, this is a very different type of laser completely. So this is Xtor's ultraviolet laser. And you might be saying this is only a 5-watt. So this is a 5-watt, but it operates on a completely different spectrum of light. So it operates at the 355 nanometer wavelength. So it's not visible with the naked eye. And it's able to engrave items with not only precision and accuracy, but the detail, like the difference that you'll find when you engrave with a diode laser versus a UV is stark. So you don't get buttoning in the same way. So this is sometimes known as a cold processing laser. And it's not because it doesn't produce heat. The laser does produce heat. It produces minimal heat compared to infrared, fiber, CO2 diode. So the way that this engraves is it breaks the molecular bonds of the material. So you're able to, for example, cut wood. This isn't a machine that's naturally adept at cutting wood, but you can cut wood. I have cut wood with this machine. And when you cut the wood, you don't get charring on the wood. It cuts and it's absolutely clean. And again, this is because it's broken the molecular bonds of the material. Whereas when I use a diode laser to cut, which is my typical way of doing things, you will see the edge, it will be charred around the edge. And that's because it's used heat to break through the material or cut through the material. So in terms of uses for the UV laser, this is why it's used in the electronics industry to mark circuits. So if you've ever opened up something electronic and seen numbers and letters written on there, it's not printed. Very seldom is it printed because it can potentially damage circuitry. They use a UV laser to mark the circuit board. So the circuit boards are very, very delicate. And that just shows you what I mean by this type of laser being very delicate and gentle. In terms of speed, this has a maximum speed of 15,000 millimeters a second. And it has dual cameras, so it has a 48 megapixel camera, dual cameras I should add. And that allows a live workspace preview. So it takes a snapshot of whatever's in the work area. So it's not live in the sense of if you move it around, it'll automatically move around. You take a picture using these cameras, and it has an alignment accuracy of up to 0.2 millimeters using those cameras. So again, very, very accurate. This machine excels with engraving on the inside of glass. So you can physically engrave on the inside of K-knot in glass. It's a very specific type of glass. And you're able to take a picture of someone, use the software, turn it into a 3D image, and then engrave that on the inside of glass with this machine. It can also engrave on the outside of glass. So you might be saying, well, that's nothing new. CO2 laser can do it. A diode laser can do it if you mark the glass, and that's very true. But the way that this machine engraves glass is very different than the way that the diode laser would or CO2 laser would. So the CO2 laser creates microfractures in the glass, which gives it that frosted effect. So it effectively weakens the integrity of the glass. But it creates microfractures, like I said, inside the glass, and that's what gives you the engraved effect. And the similar way with the diode laser, when you mark it with the black marking spray, the energy that's produced by the diode laser is able to absorb into the glass and not pass through it, and you'll get microfractures. The way that the UV laser works is it engraves directly onto the glass, and it physically takes some of that glass out. So you can feel, you can see the microscopic pieces of glass when you do a glass engraving. So it does it very differently. This machine also comes pre-assembled and it's ready to use out the box, again, when you do a short calibration. In terms of the workspace, this has a 20 centimeter by 20 centimeter work area. And again, you can expand that work area up to a maximum of 50 centimeters using the conveyor belt. And the conveyor belt operates in a slightly different way than the slide extension. So the conveyor belt is very much like what you would find at Asda, Sainsbury's, Tesco, Morrison's, an actual conveyor belt. Whereas the slide extension just moves one way and the other. It doesn't rotate in on itself. If you want to find out more information about the F2 Ultra UV, I will drop a link in the comments and you can find out more information about it there. With that being said, we'll jump over to the physical core of the machines. So if I switch over to the pan tilt zoom camera, there we go. So this is the X-Tool M2. As you can see, its work area here is sizable compared to the F2 Ultra. This is 20 centimeters by 20 centimeters and 11.5 by 11.5. So the gantry-based lasers, space is very much not an issue. I talked about the camera on the lid. So this is that 5 megapixel camera that's on the lid. When you shut the lid, it's got some magnets just here. It will know when the lid shuts, when it's open. But when you shut the lid, you should hear that beeping sound. What that's doing is that is automatically taking a picture with that panoramic camera, and it will send it to the software. So it's absolutely fantastic idea. I wish these machines had that ability, because when you shut the lid, you have to manually take a picture. And if you was to engrave this side and then flip it over and it's not in the right place, it didn't take a picture, you might engrave in the wrong place. So it's a very nice feature to have this. I also talked about the 2 megapixel close-up camera. That is located here, and that has more than one use. I'll show you what that means a little bit later, but this will take a close-up picture of the material. And if you want to take up pictures of a bigger area, it will stitch them together. And again, I'll show you how we do that. In terms of buttons, it has a power button on the back, which is on now. This is like a white color, so it's not got a job sent to it. It has a single button on the front that you use to start the machine once a job has been sent. So once the machine is powered on, it's ready to receive jobs, this is the button you would press to start the job. So when you send a job to the machine, it doesn't start it straight away like a printer would, for example. You have to click the button to say when you're ready. In terms of venting, I don't have this venting outside right now, but what I'll do is I'll just put this out the window. So you got some hose pipe, I will just hang out the window, and the hose is about 1.2 meters long. So you can see there I have it out. Now if we zoom over to these machines here, they're very similar but different sizes. So by similar I mean they have this red dot and blue dot. So if I purposely get them out of focus there and zoom in, you can see very clearly there is a red dot and a blue dot. So this is how we get it into focus. So we put the material in the machine, and then we use the up and down buttons on the touchpad that's supplied with this machine. So the up and down will move the laser up and down. So the red dot intersects with the blue dot. The laser is the perfect distance to engrave and cut. This button here will frame. So if you send a job and want to frame it, so if I press that, it will send the last job to the machine. So here you can see a square. That was the last job that was sent to the machine. And then this is the button to start it once a job is sent. So it's very, very nice to have this touchscreen capability. In terms of measuring the material, that is the manual way that I just showed you to do it. In the software, it can do this automatically. So if you put a different type of material in, say I put a cork coaster, or maybe a wallet for a phone, you can click a simple button on the software and it will automatically measure the material and set the distance accordingly. In terms of buttons, there is an emergency stop on the back side. So I shouldn't say on the back, but on the side here, on the right hand side, as you're looking at the machine, there's a red emergency stop. You hit that, that will cut power. And then there's a reset button and a power button. In terms of connectivity, there's a couple of ways to connect up, both here, and that's for the rotary device, as well as the conveyor belt. And then there's a way to connect a USB drive to the side of the machine here, as well as a USB-C to hook up to your computer. So there's a few different options. I have this machine venting outside. This machine is the X-Tool F2. So it has a very, very small footprint. If I zoom in, hopefully you can see a bit better. There we go. So you can see the handle here. And on this side, on the left-hand side, there's an emergency stop just here. So if you press that in, the emergency stop will cut power. On the opposite side, there is a dial, and the dial also acts as a button to press. So that dial controls the light. So hopefully you can see there's two stark colors, the red light and the blue light. And again, it's a very simple thing. You want to get the red light and the blue light to intersect, and that means the material is in focus. So here I've moved it out of focus, so you can see the red dot and the blue dot. And what I'll do is a little bit later, I will get the software to automatically focus that at the correct distance. In terms of venting, I have this machine venting to the air purifier. If I close this down, you might just be able to see a white box here. So this is very low profile. It's about the same size in terms of height, and it's just a little bit wider than this. I have this venting directly to the air purifier. So that is what I'm going to do here, and I have it venting to that for demonstration purposes. I could very much vent it outside, but some people, when they buy a machine, they're not able to vent outside, which is why I like to demo this as well. So you have an option if you're not close to a window. So with that being said, we'll now jump over to some laser safety training. So in terms of laser safety, please don't leave the machines unattended. So if you do have to leave the room and your machine's engraving, you can pause it. So you can pause it in the software, and I would highly recommend you do that. I've had to do this myself. Never had an issue starting it back up. So please don't leave it unattended. This is capable. The lasers are capable of creating a flame. And obviously you want to be very mindful of that, which is why you don't want to leave it unattended. Please put it on a flat, stable surface. So if it's not flat, you will get a less than ideal engrave. And if it's not stable, and let's just say you put it on a table that has wheels, and the wheels don't have locks on them, or the lock is not very sturdy, as the machine moves around and rocks, it will cause it to rock even more because the actual table it's on will move. You will get a less than ideal engrave. I experienced this firsthand exhibitions. So when you have it on a table and there's 30, 40 people walking past, knocking into the table, it will eventually just jitter a little bit. And when I'm engraving, for example, I noticed that it skipped a couple of lines. So I could see it. So I was doing a metal business card with a high quality photo on it. And when there's a lot of people around, and it compromised the integrity, I guess, of the table, and it was able to move a little bit, it affected the engrave. So you want a flat, stable surface to give you the best results. Don't modify the machine. So for example, the M1, M2, S1, they're fully enclosed lasers, and they're fully enclosed for a reason. So you don't need to wear glasses. So please don't modify the machine. They're made the way they're made for a reason. In terms of ventilation, I have my stuff venting outside or to a smoke air purifier to get that smoke out of the bed and get it somewhere. So you have options. If you have the M2, for example, you can use the air purifier or the AP2. So the air purifier is smaller and cheaper, and the AP2 is a bigger machine that has more filters and is able to evacuate the smoke quicker. So depending on what machine you have, depends on what will work with your machine. So if you have an Ultra, for example, you need to use an AP2. And then there's some things that you should never engrave. So PVC or vinyl. So vinyl contains PVC, or most vinyl, should I say, contain PVC and are not laser safe. PVC can create a gas that is very dangerous to your lungs, and it will damage them permanently. And then on top of that, damage your machine because the gas that it produces will corrode the laser lens, the glass laser lens in your machine. So please don't do it. If in doubt, don't engrave something. This is why I don't typically engrave customer supplied materials. If it's a metal keychain and I'm 100% certain of what it is, for example, I don't have many issues. If a customer was to ask me to do it, typically I don't. I sell materials plus the engraving. I'm not just selling the engraving as a service. So please be mindful of that. And then safety glasses. So the M2 is a fully enclosed laser, class 1. You don't need the safety glasses. But the other two machines that I just showed you, the F2 and the F2 Ultra UV, I can operate with that lid open and the laser source is exposed. So because of that, I will need glasses. And these aren't normal safety glasses in the sense of what you'd wear at a construction site or if you go paintballing, for example. They protect your eye in a very different way. They're protecting your eye from the different spectrums of light that the laser produces. So for example, the diode light is a visible light, so you can see that with the naked eye, but the infrared and UV, for example, are outside of our spectrums of light to be able to see. So you wouldn't even know that the laser's hitting you in the eye until it's too late. So please wear adequate protection. In the office here, I have blackout blinds, the door's locked, for example, so no one can just accidentally walk in while the machine's in action. And safety glasses for those that are in the room when the laser is exposed. So please do bear that in mind. Now, with all that being said, if we jump over to the Xtor Studio software, so it's at version 1.7.3 at the moment. I anticipate another version dropping very, very soon because of the release of the Xtor 01. So if you don't know what that is Xtor's UV printer, and it comes in 3 different variations and is going to be game changing in terms of the UV printing market. So what we'll do now is we'll jump into the actual software. So you should see the Xtor Studio software on your screen. There's an external camera feed of the laser in the bottom left, and then obviously my face is in the bottom right. So at times I will just show you the screen like this, as there might be something that is being missed by some of the videos that are being displayed on the screen. So one of the first things I highly recommend to check out is the Xtor Academy. This is an official resource. I used this week to help a customer. So for example, if you have just got the P3, you can click on the P3, getting started. It has a lot of good information on there. If I go back and go, actually, I want to look at the M2, it's got a guide on there on how you can do this. You can also untick this and go to general. So when you go to general, it's just some general stuff. So laser safety training, highly recommend this. I can't recommend it enough. You get a certificate at the end of it. It has real world value. For example, my F2, very portable, excellent for doing craft fairs. If you take it to a craft fair, more often than not, you'd have to do some sort of risk assessment. This will form a part of your risk assessment. So again, it has real world value. It's not just there for fun. And then there is some official videos with collaborators. So in this case, you have Paul here, how to scale and start your business, or how to start and scale your business. Honestly, worth watching. Very nice guy, has a lot of knowledge. Is top seller on Etsy. And again, has a lot of knowledge, and you're able to get a glimpse of that knowledge with this short course that he's put together. Highly recommend you check it out and follow him on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. His social media details are in the software. Please do check it out. And that's pretty much it with the Xtool Academy. And again, that's an official resource from Xtool. It's not you going onto YouTube and finding someone. So those days are gone. So Xtool has listened and incorporated that as a part of their software. So that really does help simplify things in terms of learning. And it does help you get the most out of your laser, because some of the knowledge that you'll get will help you make your products better or faster, or maybe both. And then we'll move on to Atom. So this is worth a mention. So Atom is a way that you can download pre-made designs that other Xtool customers have made. And you can monetize this. So if you're new to lasers, you can download a project. If you're an experienced creator, you can upload a project. I highly recommend you check that out. For the most part, for me, I have my own designs that I have. So some people will be starting from scratch. This is amazing to have to get you going. And then we have custom things. So I did touch on this in the last 2 sessions this week. This is revolutionary in terms of integration with your online store and how easy it makes things on the back end. So I had a customer that uses Xtool lasers. They wanted to look at a different product. And one of the things that come up in conversation was having to redo orders because of mistakes. And it's not mistakes from the customer, it's mistakes from the user making it. And in this case, it was orders on Etsy, copying and pasting names, for example, or typing in names, and the names were wrong. The product that was sent out was engraved wrong, for example. The error was on the owner, on the shop owner, and it's up to them to rectify it, either send out a new product or refund. So he was telling me about his woes there, and I asked him why he wasn't using this. So he did not know about it. There is a paid for solution. So if I go to more and go to home even and scroll down, go to subscription. So in terms of cost, $0 if you're just doing 10 items a month or less. There's no payment detail, so you don't have the ability to sell online in that way of taking funds online. So you can sell online but not take the funds. There'd be collection in person, or they would have to send you the money directly some way. But it gives you an idea of how to get going. The paid for version. So I do have a paid for version that I've paid for with my own money as a test store on this. I do use this for my own business. I have an enterprise account, which is different. So if you have multiple stores, please do reach out. I'll be happy to talk about the enterprise version of this software. It's extremely similar to what I'm just about to show you now. It's just that it works with multiple sites. So Xtool again have the different businesses covered, from the small business owner to the medium to large businesses. So I have the growth version here, and this allows me to process up to 100 orders a month. And I can take payment online or in person. So if I take it online, there's a transaction charge, 2.5% plus 20p. And you do have some of the premium design libraries and all the other bits that go with it. And it does scale up. So if you're doing 500, say, that's $69 a month. And again, this is in dollars, not in pounds. So 19 pounds is about £15. $19 is about £15. So it's definitely worthwhile getting if you're using it. If I go back to custom things. So what you do is you create some products. You add your products. So here I've added some products. So for example, some custom cardstock. And this is just simple cardstock that I got from Hobbycraft. It's nothing special. And I'd like to say it's about £7 for 50 pieces of cardstock that's ready to be made into cards. So what I did was I used some of the pictures to come up with what it looks like here. So that's what it looks like. Those are the colors, got the size. So that's what the customer will see when they click on it. So it's custom card. I've added some variations of color. So blue, red, yellow, and it goes further than that. You could have blue, red, yellow, but then you could also have variations in size. So this is A6, I believe. You could have A5 cardstock maybe in the exact same colors. So you're not limited by just color. You have size, you have other options, capacity, thickness, shape, and you can do multiples of each. So if I go to the next part, which is the design area, so I've already done this. So this is just mapping out the area, mapping out the engravable area. What color do I want it to appear on here? So for example, blue on blue, that wouldn't look good. You can just about see it. So this is just what the user will see as they're designing. It's not what color it will actually be. It's what color the customer will see as they're doing their design over top of it. So I've done that for all of these. And I've set a price $4.99. I can then select what I want the user to be able to do. So I want the user to be able to add text, upload an image, doodle. I might say, do you know what? I don't want them to be able to upload an image. I only want them to be able to use my images. And I can click on it and go, okay, pet images. So these are some images for pets. And it might be that we want to upload our own images. I can go create, and that will take me to the website where I can upload it, but I'll show you how to upload your own pictures shortly from within Xtool Studio. So you don't have to use the website. You can go to custom things, but you don't have to do that. So I like that this is all one pane of glass. All these different aspects are in one pane of glass. And this will help you simplify your workflow and maximize your profits using this tool. So you can take 100 orders and you're not having to design 100 orders. You're literally just processing 100 orders. And I'll show you exactly what that looks like next. So parameters, we create the parameters and we add them once. So we do the testing and we add the parameters, the power, the speed, the lines per centimeter. If it's an image, the dots per inch. We work out what the best parameters are for the material and we punch them in. And what happens is when the customer places an order, the file will automatically include all these parameters. So the person that's doing the engraving doesn't have to work out what's the best parameters for whatever material they're engraving. All they have to know is what did the customer order, what machine am I processing it on, put it in the machine and process it. It's very effortless, very simple. So once you're done, you hit next to publish and then you're done. If I go back and we just have a look. So if I was to share that, if I was to show you the Safari store, I jump over and go here. So this is the Safari store. And here you can see the custom card. If I click on that, that will shoot me over to here. So this is the store in custom things. And I should note too that you can link this to Etsy. You can link this to Shopify. You can link this to WooCommerce. So if you use a WordPress-based site that uses WooCommerce for your online store, it will integrate with those platforms. And you're able to do what I'm just about to show you. So if I click cardstock, if you have it integrated directly into your website, when your customer goes to order, they will see this. This will be integrated. So they won't see this bit. This bit is custom things. If you don't have a website, this is great because it just gives you one. But if you want to use your existing website, you can use the plugin that will let you have this aspect here. So when the customer goes onto your website, maybe it's Shopify, maybe it's WooCommerce, they click on card, they're able to customize it just like this. And they go, do you know what? I want red card, $4.99. Do pickup, gives you some times there, delivery. tells you the cost, and I go customize it. So now we have options. So we have this text option, upload, doodle. So doodle is simply what it says. Upload will allow us to upload an image. So we can either upload from the device, or if we do upload from mobile scan, it will show a QR code. You can scan that with your mobile phone and upload a picture from your mobile phone. It goes straight onto the computer. So there's a few different ways. So what I want to show you right now is we'll add a template to this. So if we just go to, yeah, maybe. I'll just switch things around. So if we go to Design Center up here, I'm going to create a new template to make it easy for a customer to make a card. So maybe football's on at the moment, so we got the World Cup. So if we make something football related, so the first thing I want to do is I want to create a template. So I'm on templates, add template. And we do have options. So we can use some pre-made templates. So if I go with, do you know what? I like this one. Resolve template. So this is saying there's a font that is not in the library. Do I want to add it? That makes sense. And I'll click apply. So now that font is applied. And along the right-hand side, it will have options, and you'll see this little tick box, allow customer to edit. So this bit here, I don't want to allow the customer to edit, so I'll leave that off. I'll let the customer edit this, and I'll say this can only be 1 character long. So a number between, in fact, no, we'll do 2. So a number between 0 and 20, 99, I guess, actually. So 2 numbers can go here, 2 characters. And then here, the Alex, where it says Alex, we'll allow them to customize, and maybe we'll go Wayne is 5, 6, 7, 8. So we'll say 8 characters maybe. So we'll leave a name there, and we'll say, yeah, we'll allow the customer to edit that. And 8 characters long. Now I'm happy with that. I'm going to hit save template. And it's got a template. It's just called new template. So I'm just going to rename that. Rename it, and I'm going to say football template 1. And I can give it a tag. So I could say, do you know what? This is football related. So maybe I give it football. I want it to be tagged with cards because I think this could be put on a card. This would make a good card. I'm just going to say card. And you'll see how these tags come in handy. If I do like football, tick, and a card. There we go. And then I'll save that template again. I want to create a template from scratch as well. So I use the pre-made template. And if I go add template, I've got my own thing that I want to upload. So templates, graphics, SVG. And what do we want to do? Maybe we want something like that. And then maybe I go here and I go, happy birthday, happy birthday. I'll make this bigger. So that's in the middle. I know that's in the middle because you get that line. And I know this is in the middle of that because, again, I get that line there, the red line. We could go happy birthday. And we go shrink that a little bit. And then what I'll do here is we'll put the name. So here, we'll say, we'll keep it the same size. So 116.53. In fact, we will there we go. And in terms of name, we will go Alex again. Maybe we want to do that. And now what we'll say here is customer can't edit that. They can't edit that, but they can edit that. And we will, again, allow them go maybe 18 characters long in this regard. So this is just a simple template that I've created. And again, I'll give this a name and I'll go football template 2. And again, I'll go football related, and I will say card because we want this to be able to make cards. So this is just easy to use tags. So there I've created 2 templates from scratch. Wow. 1 template from scratch and then 1 template we've edited a pre-made template that X will offer. In terms of images, you might have seen the dog stuff. We'll upload some of our own stuff, some of our own images. Maybe we'll take off the feature that customers can upload an image, or maybe leave it on, but give them the ability to use some stock photos or stock assets, should I say, to upload images. So what I'll do is we'll do this manually again. Template, football numbers. Yeah. And we'll just let them upload. And you can see here, upload successful. There we go. And in terms of tags, the batch tag management. So if I select all these, batch tag management, I'm going to say football. So football is there. These are football related. And that's it. Upload. So we've added some of our own assets now to custom things. So if you are a business that has very custom stuff, you can upload your custom resources, your custom assets to custom things and allow the customers to select from predetermined assets. So with that being done, we will then go back up. We go to My Products and we'll edit cardstock. So areas and design, we're going to click on templates. So we can say card, and we've added these things to the card. Or if it was just football related stuff, you know, we can do football. So cardstock, I'm just going to tick this and click OK. You got happy birthday stuff maybe. We go, I won't leave. I won't have any of that, those templates in there. Yeah, I think I'll just leave that one that we create card. In terms of text, you can force the customer to only use certain fonts. This is a good option because customers will have trouble choosing when there's too much choice. And more importantly, sometimes certain fonts will give a better result on certain types of material. So for example, wood, certain fonts might not come out nice or as crisp as other fonts. So you might want to only allow the customer to choose certain fonts to always give that nice result that you like. I like to do this as I always like the product to be premium. Customers paying for it, I want it to look perfect each and every time, but I don't want them to give the customer an option where it will allow a less than ideal engrave. And then images, we'll allow them to select images from some pre-made assets. And in this case, again, we will go football. We'll only allow football stuff. Next, publish. And you do have the mockup right at the end. So if I go here, preview mockup, you can preview how it will look. So something like that. So Excel are constantly adding new things. This is fairly new. This mockup feature is very, very new in the last month or so. So now if we switch back over to Safari, what I'll do is I'll go back, I right click and reload the page. There we go. And customize. So now we're customizing this card again. And again, we'll go yellow card this time. Customize it. We have these options now. So I can go template, choose the one that we made from scratch with an asset that we have. And you'll notice that I can't click on happy birthday, can't click on that image. It keeps flashing up when I click just here. So if I click on here, this is the only thing I can change. So this allows you to be able to make quick changes for a customer, so a customer can create something and it will come out quickly and easily. So if we don't like that, maybe we go, do you know what, we'll change this. I can change that to 50. There we go. And then change that to Wayne. That simple. But what about maybe we want to do our own thing? So we want to make our own card from scratch. We go images. We have some football images. So we have your own resource. So you can have your own resources on there and let the customer add their own text in the way that they want to. And in terms of text, they have options of fonts. In terms of how the text is going to go, we can say happy birthday. And then I can go, do you know what? I want this to arch around. And it's just that simple. I mean, if you're using your phone, which you can use your phone, you can just swipe around. And when you hit submit, what happens is it will jump into the software. So if I show you the software now, so let's just say I submitted that order. When you go up to orders, we'll have the order in there. And then all you do is you hit process. So in this case, this one here. And the good thing is when you hit process and you actually make the item, it will mark this process. So this one I opened up, but I didn't actually make it. So I opened this up, but I didn't actually make it. When you actually make the item, so when it starts, the laser starts engraving it, it will automatically mark it as processed, and the customer will get an alert to say, hey, your order's ready. So it's very nice to have, and you can download the file to your PC rather than just it opening up. So I've clicked on one of the orders there. And as you can see, it's opened up automatically into the right machine, the F2 Ultra. Click on it, it's automatically got the settings that I've set. The only thing that the employee needs to know is what was ordered. So if they go over here, the golf coin, for example. So one of the features I've asked Excel to add to this is the ability to mark SKUs. So there's a clearer definition of what material the customer's ordered. But in this case, we should know based off what was ordered that it was the golf coin. And we can change. So when you click on the actual order, we go over here, click on the actual customer. So again, if you just click on it, it will tell you what was ordered, golf marker. So from this screen, if you've got lots of golf markers, for example, different sizes. So this one is a 30mm golf coin. Maybe you sell 60mm golf coins. So you just have to click on the order and it will tell you what it is. So in this case, I've put 24.5mm. That's because that's the engravable area. I'll allow the user to engrave. But you click on it, reprocess, and again, it will open up and have settings. You're literally ready to go. So all the employee needs to know is what material to put in there, and they hit that process button and they're ready to go. So you're shipping product, you're not just drafting, because creating an order from scratch or design from scratch. So let's just say, for example, you do family trees. So you've got a 5-person family tree and you're texting back and forth with a customer. And this has happened to me. And I've created a draft and they go, that looks great, but can you change the font? And then it's, oh, the font looks great, but now I want to change the order. Can you change the type of hearts that they're enclosed in? In fact, can you change the tree? Is it possible to add a name at the bottom of the tree for someone that's dead? Can we add our dogs on there? And before you know it, you've lost an hour and not made product, not even shipped it out. So lost time is lost money. And this really does simplify your workflow, because the customer can spend as long as they want creating the design. And as soon as it's submitted, it goes into your portal and you're able to import that directly into the software that makes the lasers work. So you've turned from a design shop to literally processing. You're processing jobs. That's what you're doing. So this for me is key to success for businesses, is being able to take time away from other things to be able to spend it on the things that do matter. So I'm not saying that drafting doesn't matter, because it does, but you're able to spend time creating new designs, upload them to custom things, and then let the user pick and choose how they want things to show up. And then once they're happy with it, they submit the order and you make it just the way it should be. And one of the great benefits, other than time saving, is if there's an error, if little Timmy has got 2 Y's at the end of his name instead of 1 and you engrave it, that's no longer a mistake. That's on the customer. And maybe you work with the customer and send them an additional one at a reduced cost. I don't know. But regardless, it's a custom piece. It's non-refundable. They're the one that's made the error. You're saving money by not having to redo the work, reuse or repurchase material, shipping, time. It all adds up. So time is money, and this will save you time. And yes, it does have a small cost if you start going through the plans, but you'll save money in the process of doing this. And if you don't save money, you will definitely save time. And that's all the time we have time for, funny enough, for today. I'll be online again next week. I'm not sure what time. Next week, I plan on covering solely the M2. I want to cover some of the advanced features. I've been asked about the M2, about its capabilities. It's very popular at the moment because of the price point. So I'll be concentrating solely on the M2. So if anyone has any questions in regards to the M2, please email them me. I hope to get as many people online and answer as many questions as possible, and generally get people up to date on what you can do with the machine. It has some pretty advanced features that are not really talked about. And for the price point, you can't really find a laser that's in its category. It punches well above its weight. So for example, the 10-watt laser, I would say personally, the way that I feel, I've got a 40-watt diode laser in my S1, and how it cuts, this really does punch above its weight. I would have said it cuts better than my 40-watt diode laser. And I think part of that is because of the laser dot size. It's tinier, so it's packing more of that energy in a more smaller space. So it's able to cut through wood more effectively. So that's just one of the many things that I'll be excited to talk about next week. So again, thank you for joining me. Please enjoy the rest of your evening and stay cool.